The first time I realized something was wrong, it wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that seeps into your bones and makes every creak in the floorboards feel like it's whispering secrets. My name is Rachel Miller, and this is the story I never thought I'd tell, the story that changed my life, my marriage, and the way I see myself. At 36, I was still considered beautiful by most standards, hazel eyes, a warm smile I rarely used anymore, and dark hair that I usually tied back into a bun. To the outside world, I had everything: a handsome husband, a lovely suburban home, and a life that looked perfect on paper. But inside that house, perfection was just a mask. My husband, Michael Miller, was a successful CFO, always rushing between flights, meetings, and late-night conference calls. Our marriage had slowly unraveled into polite conversations and routine dinners where his phone was always closer to him than I was. I told myself this was normal, that after 15 years of marriage, things settled down. But deep inside, the loneliness was a gnawing ache, constant and unrelenting. It was the late summer when Ethan, Michael's 22-year-old son from his first marriage, moved into our guest room. He'd just finished college and was figuring out his next step. Ethan was nothing like his father. Where Michael was polished, composed, and reserved, Ethan was raw energy, charming in his recklessness, with dark curls that kept falling into his sharp green eyes. I had always kept him at arm's length, treating him more like a guest than family. But that summer, something shifted. It started with a glance. I was at the sink one evening, rinsing dishes as the sunset painted the kitchen in shades of orange and gold. When I turned, Ethan was standing in the doorway. He wasn't just watching me, his gaze was heavy, lingering. It wasn't the look of a boy at all. It was the look of a man. "Need something?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. He leaned against the doorframe, a smirk playing on his lips. His t-shirt clung to him after a run, and his chest rose and fell with steady breaths. "Just enjoying the view," he said lightly, but his eyes carried a different weight. My cheeks burned. I turned back to the sink, pretending his words didn't ripple through me, but my pulse betrayed me, beating wildly, reminding me how long it had been since I felt truly seen. From then on, I couldn't stop noticing him. The way he moved around the house, confident and unbothered. The way his fingers brushed mine when he handed me a glass of water, lingering just a second too long. The way his cologne mixed with the smell of morning coffee, filling the air between us with something forbidden. I told myself it was harmless. I was his stepmother. He was too young. This was unthinkable. But the more I tried to bury it, the more it pulled me in like a current I couldn't fight. One evening, Michael called me. His voice was clipped, rehearsed, as he told me he'd be late again. I said okay in a flat tone, staring at the manicured lawn outside, wondering when my life had become so empty. "You don't sound surprised," a voice said behind me. I turned sharply to see Ethan standing there, arms crossed, watching me too closely. "I'm not," I admitted quietly. "Work always comes first." "That's a shame," he said. His tone wasn't sympathetic. It was sharper, almost dangerous. My breath caught. "You shouldn't talk like that." "Why not?" He stepped closer, his gaze never wavering. I gripped the counter to steady myself. I should have told him to stop. But the truth was, I didn't want him to. The days that followed were unbearable. Every stolen glance, every brush of his hand, every smirk that said he knew exactly what he was doing, it all tightened around me like a noose. Then one night, I couldn't run anymore. A storm rolled in, thunder cracking outside as the rain hammered against the windows. I stepped onto the porch to breathe, and there he was, shirtless, practicing some kind of martial art in the dim backyard light. His muscles flexed, his movements deliberate, controlled. He wasn't just exercising. He was performing. For me. When he turned, sweat glistening on his skin, his smirk widened. "You don't have to hide," he said. "I'm not hiding," I whispered, though we both knew I was. "Then why do you keep running?" I froze, my stomach in knots. His words were a challenge. "This isn't a game," I said, my voice trembling. "Never said it was," he replied softly. "But I think you're lying to yourself." I should have walked away. I should have slammed the door, locked it, and pretended this never happened. But I didn't. Because in his eyes, I saw something I hadn't felt in years: desire. Not duty, not routine. Desire. He reached for my hand, his fingers brushing mine, sending a shock through me. My breath faltered. "You feel it too," he whispered. And I did. God help me, I did. The first time it happened, it wasn't planned. It wasn't some grand betrayal I had mapped out. It was lightning striking in the middle of the storm, his lips on mine, soft at first, then hungry, desperate. I didn't push him away. I pulled him closer. It should have felt wrong. I should have been drowning in guilt. But instead, I felt alive. Seen. Desired. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. With Ethan, I wasn't Michael's neglected wife. I was a woman again. But secrets never stay secrets for long. Michael began to notice changes. The way I avoided his touch. The way I seemed distracted, restless. He wasn't the type to ask questions, but one evening, he came home early. I was in the kitchen when he appeared in the doorway, his face unreadable. "Where is he?" he asked quietly. My stomach dropped. "Who?" His jaw tightened. "You know who." The silence stretched heavy between us. He didn't need proof. He already knew. "I don't need to hear it," he said finally, shaking his head. "I already know." Then he turned and walked out, the slam of the door echoing through the house like a verdict. I stood there, shaking, the weight of everything crashing down. The truth is, what happened between Ethan and me wasn't about him. It was about me. About loneliness. About years of silence and neglect. About crossing boundaries that should never be crossed. Desire can blind us. It can make us forget who we are, who we promised to be. But it can also expose the cracks we've been ignoring for years. My story isn't here to glorify what happened. It's a reminder, in any relationship, communication and honesty matter more than anything. Because when needs go unmet, when silence replaces connection, temptation finds a way in. So ask yourself, what would you have done in my shoes?